Thanks for joining us. Tens of thousands of Canada Post workers now on strike, meaning a near total shutdown of mail delivery. That is tough news for millions of businesses just ahead of the holidays. Nama Weingarten takes a look at the impact already being felt close to home.
It's the second day that thousands of Canada Post workers are on the picket lines, with the two sides still far apart. The president of their union says a new mediator will be joining them on Monday to help move things along.
Well, for us, it'll help us get to a negotiated contract, not having to go to arbitration, hopefully. And we know that the best contracts are those that are negotiated between both parties at the table and not going to arbitration process.
She says the last time both sides were at the negotiating table was Friday. They weren't able to reach a deal after a year of trying to nail down a new contract. The union wants a 22% raise over the next 4 years, while Canada Post is offering about half of that, 11.5%. Among the union's other demands are safer working conditions, better job security, and less reliance on part-time workers. And while the strike goes on, organizations all across Ontario are feeling the impact.
As soon as the strike was announced, there was a huge scramble.
Kim's small business in Peterborough sells items from estate sales online using Canada Post. With the strike, she says they'll have to stick to only selling small packages because shipping larger ones through private couriers will be too expensive.
So I'm going to have to adjust and not sell the big stuff. And the big stuff is sometimes where the money is, right?
For Ashley, who runs 2 small businesses and sells Christmas ornaments with her husband in the rural community of Kennington, there are even fewer options.
Right now, we are at a standstill. We have to drive over an hour away to use a shipping service that's actually cost effective for our business. A package that could potentially cost us $22 to ship with Canada Post could jump to $60 to $80 per package.
Charities like Canadian Food Grains Bank also already feeling the impact. One of its directors says nearly half of their donations come by mail, along with the promotional material they sent out just days before the strike to gear up holiday donations.
About 40% of donations come in December, so it's definitely one of the most critical months of the year for us. So part of this is all the work that has been planned and towards executing. We now have to potentially come up with ways to pivot in order to engage supporters.
In a statement to CBC, Canada Post said they lost $3 billion since 2018 and previously said the union's demands will lead to more costs they can't afford. They say they informed the union and customers they would continue operating and maintain service in the event of rotating strikes as discussions continue. But for now, it's still a near total shutdown. Nama Weingarten, CBC News, Toronto.
A shooting in Ottawa's East End sent 5 people to hospital, including a 33-year-old man shot by police. The SIU now taking over the investigation. This was the scene this morning at a shopping plaza. Police say they got calls just after 11 last night for reports of a man with a weapon who was allegedly assaulting people and damaging vehicles. The police watchdog confirming today that an officer shot the man multiple times, but did not say if he was carrying a weapon. The man was taken to hospital and arrested. So were 4 other people treated in hospital. Everyone is expected to survive. Turning to much lighter news now, you're looking live at Rogers Centre, night 3 for Taylor Swift. And once again, thousands of fans filling streets downtown all day with their sparkly outfits, big energy and excitement. As Sarah Tomlinson shows us, part of the brilliance of Swift's superstardom is her mass appeal.
Sitting at his dining room table, David Noseworthy makes one Taylor Swift-inspired friendship bracelet after another. This family man wasn't always a fan of her music. Upon the release of her album Folklore, that all changed.
The storytelling was very different. The lyrics were introspective in a way.
His transition into becoming a Swiftie wasn't seamless. His daughter, Kitty, still has her fair share of comments.
If I'm playing Taylor Swift in the car, she'll be like, okay, Dad, enough already? Can we please put something else on?
Nevertheless, David says he's a proud Swiftie. He even flew to London with his family to see Swift in concert last year.
Love the friendship bracelets.
Courtney discovered Taylor Swift for the first time when she was 26 years old.
Even though we have that decade between us, I find I still connected to her music.
At 44, Courtney now works as a teacher in the Durham region. Her long-standing passion led her to create a Taylor Swift fan club at her school.
It's an interesting way of connecting with the kids, and yeah, lots of people kind of try and judge me for it, but I I don't care.
Mr. Kimji tried for many years to hide his appreciation of Taylor Swift's music. One day, the Queen's University law professor decided on a whim to wear his Eras Tour shirt, sparking to his dismay a keen interest from his colleagues to learn more about why the megastar had decided to re-record her albums. Flash forward several months, registration for Law Taylor's version opened. In less than 40 seconds, places were filled. When the class officially starts in January, Mr. Kimji hopes it will be a space for Swifties to share their passion.
The sense of community that she creates amongst her fan base. It really is like, you're a part of something that's bigger than yourself.
Taylor Swift has kind of established herself as a bit of a musical chameleon. Through all this different experimentation, I think she was able to expand her fan base because of all the different sounds that could attract the different generations.
David Noseworthy certainly relates to Taylor's music. He actually managed to buy last-minute tickets to see his favorite artist in his home city. Sarah Tomlinson, CBC News, Toronto.
We are just 24 hours away from this year's Grey Cup, with the Toronto Argos taking on the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, the big game kicking off in Vancouver. But here at home, sports bars in the GTA are getting ready for fans. We find our Tyreek Reed at one of those bars. Hey, Ty.
Hey Shannon, I'm at a restaurant and bar here in Etobicoke, one of several in the GTA gearing up for the big game as the Toronto Argonauts prepare to bring home the Grey Cup championship. Now, it's not going to be easy. They'll have to do so without their starting quarterback, but fans say that's not going to stop them from coming out on top.
I think we're going Argos win 18-16.
Toronto Argonauts fans across the country are already calling Sunday's championship game.
And Ryan Dinwiddie's Toronto Argonauts are going to the Grey Cup.
It was an exciting moment for the Toronto Argonauts as they defeated the Montreal Alouettes in the East Division Finals to secure their spot in the Grey Cup Finals. But that came at a price.
That's not good. And Kelly is hurt and he is down.
Starting quarterback Chad Kelly suffered an ankle injury in the third quarter of last week's game, leaving the team to head into the Grey Cup Finals without their star player.
Losing Chad Kelly is unquestionably a problem. He is the best player on the team. He was the most outstanding player in the league last season. No team can afford to just lose Chad Kelly and act like nothing's happened. But I think the Argos are in a good position to be able to combat that. They played half their season without him to start, so they know what life is like without Chad Kelly.
Earlier in the season, the team was forced to play without Kelly after the league suspended him for at least 9 games. It happened after he was found violating the league's gender-based violence policy. Now, to help fill the gap, the Argos are calling in quarterback Nick Arbuckle to lead the team, a move that some players say will help keep them on a road to victory.
Yeah, we got a lot of confidence in Nick. He's proven to come in and be a professional and do things the right way. I don't think that, he needs to go into the game trying to, think that he has to win it by himself. We got a complete team here, so.
Now, the last time the Toronto Argonauts won the Grey Cup was in 2022. If they win tomorrow, it will be their 19th Grey Cup championship. Fans are expected here on Sunday for a special watch party. Joining me now is Matthew Scrimes, who's the general manager. Matthew, what can fans expect tomorrow?
Well, first, thanks for guys coming out and helping us get the word out. We were expecting around 100 people at least to be stopping by tomorrow. There's going to be a 50-50 raffle. We've got some house-made chili, and we're going to have sound on, banners going, tons of music. Let's go Argos. Love to see you guys stop by. We had the last viewing party when they won the last championship. Let's make it a tradition.
Very exciting. Now, kickoff is at 6 p.m. on Sunday. Back to you, Shannon.
Thanks, Ty and Matthew. Sophia joining us now for our first look at the forecast. I'm really loving all this positive energy between Taylor Swift fans and the Argo fans. Everybody is in such good spirits. I love that.
Yeah, the weather is cooperating with all the positivity as well. No rain for the short range folks. You might need some coats over top of the sparkly outfits and the football jerseys, though. We're around seasonal. Cloud cover is the story. In fact, that's going to be the story for any of the big draws in town. Don't forget the other big name event, it's Santa Claus. Today we had the Hamilton, Oakville, and Whitby Parade. parades. Right now, the London Parade is happening, and tomorrow the Beaches Santa Claus Parade is going on. And for any of you Swifties as well, before and after the parades, or after the concert rather, Saturday evening, feeling like 2 degrees, you will need that coat over the sparkly outfits and the bracelets, feeling like the freezing mark into the overnight period if your Taylor dance parties take you a little bit later than planned. Cloud covers a story into Sunday, seasonal values, but look at this draping warm front that will eventually boost up our temperatures. It is bringing in some active weather to parts of the north for Sunday. Rain really anywhere north and west of Timmins and even into the Nickel Belt a little bit. Should be snow this time of year though. Mild for parts of north and northwestern Ontario for this time of year. In fact, the mild trend will continue. Southerly flow. Sunday, seasonal-ish values, a little bit warmer for Monday as well. But coming up in the long range, we'll talk more about the parade of systems for the rest of this work week that look to, well, disrupt the calm but cloudy pattern. And we'll talk a little bit about the gloom and the early sunsets as well. Go Taylor, go. Go Argos, go. Go Santa, go. How do you pick a favorite?
Exactly. I don't know. It's hard, but we'll talk to you in a little bit.
Sounds good.
Toronto marking Louis Riel Day, raising the Métis flag at City Hall this morning. The day aims to honor Louis Riel's and all Métis people's contributions to the development of Canada. Speakers at the ceremony reflecting on what today means to them.
We offer gratitude for the positive relationship and collaboration we experience with the City of Toronto, for the public recognition of the role Toronto played in Louis Riel's execution. We also offer gratitude for the strength of the relationships and the bonds of friendship that are nurtured within our urban Indigenous community between us and our First Nations and Inuit brothers and sisters.
Louis Riel is not here with us, but his love for Métis Nation and for this country is infinite and therefore eternal. My settler, as a settler, my seeking of truth and working for reconciliation is infinite because that's what we must do.
Louis Riel Day is held every year on November 16th, the anniversary of his execution in 1885 for leading the Northwest resistance against government encroachment onto Métis lands. Riel is widely regarded as the father of Manitoba.
The horses have been incredibly well received. The bracelets are going over very, very well.
Even Toronto's police horses are getting in on the Taylor Swift excitement. A little later on, we'll show you how Sick Kids Hospital is also getting in the T-Swift spirit. We're heading into a quick break. We have more news next. Trade talks involving Asia-Pacific leaders taking place in Peru. As Evan Dyer shows us, the APEC Summit is the first of 2 major events that Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is attending in South America.
Well, all around us here in Peru, there are signs of how the world is changing, and one of them was the inauguration by China's President Xi Jinping of a major deepwater port here just a day before the summit kicked off with billions of dollars of Chinese investment. That port is going to cut something like 3 weeks off the travel time for ships between China and Peru. They won't have to go through the Panama Canal anymore. They can come straight across the Pacific. And that's just a sign of how Chinese investment and involvement in Latin America is accelerating. And one aspect of that in particular is motivating concern in the US and Canada, and that's China's presence in Mexico, and particularly China's effort to open EV plants or to sell EVs, electrical vehicles and parts, into Mexico. This concern is not confined to the Trump administration, of course. We've already seen the Biden administration put 100% tariffs on Chinese electrical vehicles and parts, to be followed by the Canadian government, which did the same. But there are concerns coming now that the Trump administration is coming in with talk of even higher tariffs, not only against China, but potentially against Mexico as well, that some in Canada want to separate themselves from Mexico before this issue really becomes toxic. We've heard that from the premiers of Ontario and Alberta. We've also heard that from some voices within the auto industry. The Prime Minister said he would prefer to see trilateral negotiations where Mexico continues to be a partner, but there were conditions on that. Let's listen.
At the same time, we know that
standing up for Canadian jobs and Canadian opportunities is the fundamental job of any Canadian Prime Minister.
Trudeau was also asked about some of the people being nominated for posts by the Trump administration, and specifically Tulsi Gabbard as Director of National Intelligence, a woman who has a long history of defending Vladimir Putin, justifying the invasion of Ukraine, all kinds of questions about her allegiances. One of the questions, of course, for Canada is, if she is a Director of National Intelligence, can Canada continue to trust the intelligence that it gets from the United States? Can it continue to share its own intelligence with the United States? Justin Trudeau did not dismiss that matter. In fact, he did say that political parties make strange choices and appeared to be reluctant to suggest that all would be normal under those circumstances, that going forward things will be the same as they were in the past. So there's still a lot of questions that remain over the future of the U.S.-Canadian relationship, and that question of intelligence sharing is clearly going to be one of them. Evan Dyer, CBC News, Lima, Peru.
Donald Trump announcing a number of controversial nominees for his administration this week. Among them was one bearing a familiar name in U.S. politics, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Chris Reyes looks at why his appointment has so many people worried.
President-elect Donald Trump unleashed a flurry of controversial appointments this week. One in particular is causing alarm beyond the U.S., Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Kennedy will be directly responsible for killing thousands of children around the world by allowing preventable infectious diseases to run rampant, wrote one health official from Samoa. RFK Jr. is a high-profile vaccine skeptic known for spreading unsubstantiated health claims, including vaccines causing autism, Wi-Fi causing cancer, or the COVID-19 virus targeting certain groups of people. Some in the small island nation blame Kennedy's visit to Samoa and the spread of vaccine misinformation for a measles outbreak that killed dozens of children in 2019. U.S. lawmakers worry about his influence in their own country.
For Christmas this coming year, we'll get a measles outbreak. And then for Valentine's Day or Easter, we'll get a meningitis outbreak if we have the gift of RFK Jr. as the head of our most important health entities.
Robert F. Kennedy Jr. He's going to help make America healthy again.
RFK Jr. has been on the defense about his vaccine skepticism, explaining on the talk circuit that he only wants a more rigorous process in approving them. Other health experts are not so sure.
He's been a loud, not just skeptic, but denier of the safety and efficacy of all vaccines, most recently mRNA vaccines, which have been shown to probably have prevented 1 to 2 million deaths as a consequence of COVID in the United States.
In a post on X earlier this week, Trump has asked the Senate to allow for recess appointments of his nominees, which would bypass Senate confirmation. The Republicans' new Senate Majority Leader has not indicated he will do that.
What they reflect is a view that he doesn't have to compromise, that he can put forward pretty radical choices and not have to worry about anyone getting in the way.
A president-elect with a decisive mandate testing the limits of his influence, still 2 months away from officially moving back into the White House. Chris Reyes, CBC News, New York.
Taylor Swift fans visiting a local hospital this week, swapping friendship bracelets with sick kids. One fan and cancer survivor shares her story.
I graduated from Sick Kids last December. I did my stem cell transplant here, so I'm a year cancer-free. And I'm going with my dad, and we wanted to stop by and give a little encouragement with our bracelets. Taylor has a song that says, "Soon You'll Get Better." And my dad has one that says, "Soon you'll get better." My mom has one that says that too, and mine says, "I did." And I think that's my favorite one.
It is the last day to swap bracelets at the Sick Kids Foundation Friendship Tree on the hospital's front lawn. The foundation says it made 3,000 custom bracelets to trade with fans, along with a welcome banner decorated by patients and staff. The foundation says it's their way to highlight the hope and inspiration Taylor Swift represents to the community. Here is another live look this hour at Rogers Centre. Lots of friendship bracelets there too. Fans lining up and getting ready for day 3 of Taylor Swift Eras Tour shows in Toronto. Walking around downtown today, you could just see all the Swiftie energy, sparkles everywhere, plenty of joy as people gear up for another big show tonight. Sophia joining us now. You know, a little cool out there for them in some of those sparkly outfits, but I don't think anybody notices. They're just like radiating with excitement.
High vibe, energy, and atmosphere. Seasonal values, though, folks, so you can't ask for too much better, except for maybe the winds to be a little bit easier for all those big Taylor Swift hairdos. Breezy, a little bit breezy for all of you, 30 to 40 kilometers an hour. You'll stay seasonal, just a little bit above with the southerly flow that kicks in for tomorrow, though. It's a southerly flow that will bring a warm front and a little bit of showers to parts of northern Ontario into Sunday. Monday, probably the best day of the upcoming work week. Almost at the mid-teens for some of you. You're a couple degrees above seasonal with that southerly flow and that warm front, and then things sort of fall off the rails for Tuesday. But temperatures will be in the mild range, so much so that you're actually where our daytime high should be into Tuesday overnight. Let's backtrack and show you the barrage of systems this upcoming work week that luckily have waited till after Taylor leaves the city. Sunday, a little bit of rain to parts of northern Ontario. Into Tuesday and Wednesday, it's a Texas low, not a heavy-hitting Texas low that brings widespread showers Tuesday overnight into Wednesday right across the region, and then that energy reforms with some cooler Arctic air over the Ohio Valley to create another low-pressure system that could become our first sort of fall storm of the season. Wednesday into Thursday could not only be heavy-hitting when it comes to some rainfall totals, but maybe even some high-elevation snowfall areas like Cottage Country and northern areas of the GTA and even extreme southwestern Ontario. Still a little early to tell, but we'll watch that. We'll also watch the chance for some pretty intense winds with that Wednesday into Thursday system. We'll have more on that on the show tomorrow. The 7-day picture does a pretty good job of portraying the sort of gloomy, cloudy week ahead with that activity to the latter half of the week. Let's talk about the gloominess. Not a lot of hours of sunlight to forecast this upcoming work week, barely any for some days. And we'll talk more about that tomorrow, and also to add to the gloom, this is why we need some more Swifties here. It's going to be darker a little bit longer. Places like Ottawa, your last 4:30 sunset is tomorrow. It's even earlier than that. Come Monday,
wow.
Shannon.
Okay, yeah, a little gloomy,
Yeah.
especially Wednesday, Thursday. Wow.
Yeah, no sunshine at all, so enjoy the high vibes at the concerts.
Okay, we'll take it. Thanks, Sophia. That's our show for you tonight. Thanks for watching. Have a great night, and we'll see you soon.